Today, this webinar, for those of you who have just joined, it's an initiative of the International Coaching Federation in Switzerland, and it's part of the International Coaching Week, a big celebration of coaching. And we are addressing these sessions specifically to people who are involved in international organizations or NGOs, but we also have some guests who come from other horizons. I would like to introduce the speaker for this session. It is Diego Raiteri. He is here. He's the president of International Coaching Federation Switzerland. And so he's sort of, the key representatives for all this initiative. And he's going to talk today about sustainability. Diego is a highly experienced coach and an even more experienced expert in sustainability and public relations. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to give you the floor. I'm Saba Imru, by the way, and I'm an executive leadership coach. I'm based in Switzerland. And I'm really enjoying coordinating all the activities around this project. So you have the floor, Diego.
Thank you very much, Saba. Happy to be here with you today. And thank you for the amazing organization of this Coaching Week specific session for the international organization. It's an incredible ecosystem that we have the chance to have here in Switzerland, and therefore we wanted to be able to be connected with you. So this is why we have chosen this topic today, which is how coaching can help empowering sustainability leadership. It's an emerging, if you want, area for coaching that is gathering interest recently. Yeah, we hope that for you who are either sustainability professionals or coaches or people who work in the international organizations and therefore work in areas which are usually linked to sustainability or have a component there, it can be inspiring to understand how coaching could help. So maybe while I start sharing the presentation, if you want to put on the chat your name, where you call from, because we don't have, it's a webinar format, so the interaction is a bit limited, but at least we know who is with us. Your name, where you call from, and also what is the interest, why you are here today, why this title attracted your attention. All right, so do you see that? Maybe we decided it was interesting to start with the definition of sustainability, because although this is a kind of buzzword, is a term that everybody is familiar with, having a common definition sometimes is good as a start. So I took really the definition that was launched in the UN Brundtland Commission in '87. So we talk about almost 40 years ago. So it seems like something new, but it has been there for a long time. And the definition at the time was sustainability is about meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. It is still valid, but of course, over time it has evolved. The scope of sustainability has evolved. So there are also different new nuances of that, but let's say the core is the same, and what is really important is that many people relate sustainability to the environment most of the time, whilst there are three very important components. Of course, the environment, because the resources of our planet are not infinite, so we have to make sure that future generation will live in a planet where they will be able to live in a good situation, but also with enough resources. The social aspect, which is about equality, which is about diversity, which is about equal opportunities for everybody, which is about education, which is about human rights, right to health, etc. And then there is the economic aspect, because of course sustainability is also about prosperity, how we can continue to prosper as a society. And what is the most recent term is the regenerative economy. But anyway, the three areas and the balance between the social, economic, and environment areas are the three extremely important. So what we are going to focus on today is the human factor in sustainability, what I like to call the human factor in sustainability. Because obviously all this huge current polycrisis, the climate crisis, sustainability crisis, biodiversity crisis, the resource crisis, and all the complex societal issues linked to those can be addressed only by collaboration and cooperation, and only by implementing a real systemic change, and also an individual and behavioral change. So the systemic change is about innovation, new technologies, new policies, new politics. And on this, a lot of progress has been made. And according to different people, there are enough resources now, enough money now invested in new technologies, in innovation, to find solutions to address all this, all the sustainability, if you want, solutions. But despite that, the progress that has been made in the last years vis-a-vis the SDG is very limited and is very, very slow. More or less only 40% of the SDGs, on only 40% we can see a progress. On 17%, it's the situation in more than 40% is even worse than where it was before. So we are really, really slow. And for based on different analysis, one of the main reasons of this is the fact that in order to all this huge systemic and individual change to happen, what is really important is the human factor, is the inner development, is the inner change of mindset, values, beliefs, worldviews, paradigms, and associated internal competencies that has to evolve. So acting on this internal dimension has been for a long time not a priority, and now it's more and more clear that without this, we are not going to have the progress that we need, because the urgency is there. So if we take just the environmental aspect, for example, we all know that the situation doesn't look good. We know that every year the Earth Overshoot Day is earlier and earlier. Last year it was the 2nd of August. The Earth Overshoot Day is the day when all the resources used by us exceed the resources that the Earth is able to regenerate in 1 year. So in 8 months now, we use enough, all the resources that the Earth is able to regenerate in 1 year. And this is definitely not sustainable. But what is the reason behind? Is the system in which we live that we have created, which is based on an idea of pursuing infinite growth, overconsumption, extractivism of resources, profit at all cost, and which is not taking into consideration the well-being and the capacity of nature. So behind the outcome of our way of living, there is this system which already at the time when it was implemented and created, it was clear it would have been not sustainable. There was a book in the 70s that was already talking about the limited resources and the fact that by the end of the century would have realized that this system could have not provided prosperity for future generation. And behind all this, there is the concept that no problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it. And therefore, if we do not address the need for a mindset shift, for a change in value, for a change in our vision of the world, we will never be able to achieve that impact that is urgently and tremendously required today. What is the paradigm shift that we are referring to? Is the shift from a system which is anthropocentric, an ego-centric system, to an eco-centric system. So the idea is that us as human beings, we are part of the system. We are not just there to utilize all the resources to our own consumption, but that we are part of a planet where all these resources have to be nurtured, have to be regenerated, and that we are part of a system, and every act that we, every action has an impact that is going to have consequences on nature, on the system, on resources. So for our own benefit and for the benefit of the planet, we have to change our way of living. Behind this current system that exists, and I'm sorry if I'm going a bit fast, but it's just setting a bit the stage, is according to the theory U, which is another very interesting reference. If you are not familiar with that, could be something that you want to look into, the theory U by Otto Scharmer, that there are clear symptoms in our society of something which is broken. It's the disconnection from nature, which is the ecological divide. Most people now live on the planet in urban environment where they don't have any direct contact with nature, so they do not realize the impact of their actions on biodiversity, on nature and the environment and the planet. And this ecological divide is one of the symptoms, but also one of the reasons why we have not been able yet to make this change. Then there is a social divide, which is the disconnection from society, the fact that each of us has lost contact with the idea of the greater good, with the idea that we are not just individuals, and there are not only our own interests and our own happiness, but that we have to make sure that the society is thriving and that we are part of a greater human society. And then there is a spiritual divide and the disconnection, therefore, with ourselves. In what sense? We are not connected to our own values. We don't know anymore what are our deep beliefs, and therefore we are unhappy, frustrated with the results of our own action. We contribute to a system and we are not satisfied, and we are deeply frustrated with the impact of our own actions. And this is another source of frustration, lack of fulfillment, unhappiness, that is also very evident in current society. And then there is a disconnection with our own future. We are not in touch with the future of the next generations, and we do not think long-term, and we do not think about potential possible futures that can be better, can be planned in a different way. So this is a little bit the, let's say, the link between sustainability, the human aspect of the sustainability, the need of the deeper change that we have to go through as society and as individuals, the system change that has to happen in terms of mindset, worldview, values. And so the first question that we have for you is, what is your own worldview as far as the ego and eco paradigm? Where do you stand? And what is your level of connection or disconnection with nature? So if you like, we could maybe have this discussion in couples or in triads. I don't know, Saba, what you have decided, maybe we can go into breakout rooms and discuss that for the next, let's say, 7 minutes.
Everybody's back from the breakout rooms, so we can close them. And what I'd like you to do now is to share your conversation, you know, what you talked about in this. It was quite a long, 7, 8 minutes that you were out there. Please put in the chat, what did you learn during this conversation about yourself, about your awareness of your connection or disconnection with nature or your worldview? How close are you to being in the eco paradigm? So please share your ideas. It's also part of the richness of having a group dialogue like this, sharing with the bigger group. Thank you.
And while you share, we focus on the disconnection with nature, but we mentioned also the disconnection with society and the disconnection with ourselves, in the sense of disconnection with our own values, how much we know about our deep beliefs. As we said, sustainability is not just about the environment, it's about the societal, economic aspect, and it has an impact which goes beyond the connection with nature. But this is just an example that even reflection in any way is very important.
Sharing an interesting comment, the need to continue forward with sustainable awareness and push back when others don't understand your way of living. Very true, very important. Pushing back, having that presence of pushing back and educating others when the opportunities arise. So that's what you learned from your group. Fantastic. What other reflections do we have? A thumbs up? That means you enjoyed the conversation. That's really great. And you who give us a thumbs up, who give the small group a thumbs up, would you like to share one thing that you learned or discovered or became aware of? Just one thing. I'll read it and then maybe you can comment on it, Diego. How can we maximize our connection with nature and society in a fast-paced life? How to go from disconnect to connect, how to focus in a very distractive environment. That's very interesting comments. Would you like to rebound on that, Diego?
I think that we are going to address maybe that in the second part when we discuss how coaching can help, how what competencies also we can develop that can allow for a better presence, a better capability to connect. This is exactly what different from different disciplines, different researchers have tried to look at to understand what qualities, what skills, what competencies we have to develop in order to be able to do exactly that. In our fast-paced life, we have to be able to disconnect from all the distraction we get in order to connect with ourselves, with nature, with a sense of belonging. And we were talking with Saba. Saba lives up in the mountains in a beautiful place. She sends always beautiful pictures of, the Swiss mountains and the lake and the sky. But it's not enough to, contemplate, look at nature, enjoy being outdoor, to be really connected. Connection is really feeling that you are part of a bigger system, knowing about the consequences of that reaction, the need to thrive all together with other human beings, with other beings, with nature, with all the other resources that exist out there.
There are a couple of comments that are actually from before that are, in a certain sense, very much related. And there's says, you know, the importance of hearing your thoughts and everybody else's thoughts on the matter, because this is such an important global current state. And that's exactly the conversation you had in the breakout rooms. It's in relation to an important global current state. And as a question, I don't know if it's an actual question to you, Diego, or if it's just a general question for reflection, is how can one effectively persuade individuals to shift their thinking and lifestyle? Convincing people of all these changes is highly challenging. So I think that's what you're going to answer in the next step. Is that it?
Today we cannot, unfortunately, answer all those questions, but we can suggest tools. We can suggest how coaching can help. But that is really, anyway, the big realization that we had. That is not just about talking about science, explaining science, give facts. That is not enough to convince people. The way we talk about all these issues has to change and has to create a stronger connection, not just the emotional connection that can come with, showing pictures of the distress that, animals, nature, wildfires, everything happen, but can provoke, but really creating a different mindset and world vision shift. And I like also your comment. It's not really, we are not talking about a dichotomy ego. What we are saying here is that in a ego centric view, this is why they call this era the Anthropocene. The world is the human being consider themselves at the center of the world, and they use resources and extract resources for their own benefit without taking into consideration the impact on the rest. And this is why if we put ourselves, the human being, as at the center, as part of the system, the view is going to change. So it's not eco against ego. We are part of that. On the contrary, this is the point.
There's another comment which I think is very true, that we think we have a connection with nature, but actually we're doing the minimum.
Yeah. Okay, so we all have our own experience with ourselves and with other people, and I think that the result of our initial reflection can be that what is required now is a huge change management process on a global scale, in the sense that we have created a problem which is a human problem. We have to find a human solution, but that can happen only if there is first a deeper change of mindset, values, relationship, priorities, decision-making process. This is what we try to talk about more and more now, and in general when we talk about sustainability. So the question is, what are those qualities, skills, competencies that are required in order to have a purposeful, sustainable, productive lives as individuals and as a society? And how can we become a change agent, and how leaders can become change agents by developing those skills and qualities? So there are different examples, different frameworks, different studies that have been developed, but they all are converging towards the same conclusion. And so I would mention, as a good framework, can be a good reference, the inner development goals, a framework which has been developed based on interviews with around 1,000 people, specifically working on sustainability, and asking them what they think that these qualities and skills are. And the IDG became a movement, an initiative that is continuing to contribute to further develop this framework. There is a new survey which is running right now, in order to get input from more people, a broader base, but also a broader geography, so that this doesn't represent only the Western view, but the view of the entire world. And they have been developed really taking into consideration how can we reach the SDGs, what kind of inner development goals we have to develop. So you have 5 categories around which they develop these competencies, and there are in total 23 competencies. And it's interesting, if we think about other leadership models, the area of being is never really the foundation. If we think about leadership models for managers, for example, the being part is not so strongly there as it is here. It's the number one, is really the relationship to yourself, your self-awareness, how the connection with those values we were talking about before, so that we can act and we can live in a way which is authentic and integral to our own values. That allows us to have that presence, that connection that is required. And the presence is something that we hear more and more in coaching, in leadership. It's not just the executive presence, but it's the capacity to be there, connected and grounded. Then there is a second pillar, which is the thinking, the cognitive skills. And again, it's not just about the rational mind, but it's about a worldview, which is a systemic worldview. So thinking and making sense of complexity and with perspective, with critical thinking, but taking into consideration all the relationship between the elements of the system that we are trying to understand. And also this long-term orientation and visioning that can allow us to connect also with possible futures. Then there is the element of relating, so caring for others, caring for the world. And this is about not just the capacity to be compassionate and to have empathy for other human beings, but it's also really this connection with the entire world, caring for the world, the planet, nature, humility, not thinking that we are the center of everything, and being able to appreciate others' point of view. Then there is the fourth pillar, which is the collaborating social skills. So how can we be able to take into consideration others' point of view and collaborate also with the stakeholders which have different needs? How can we be inclusive? How we can develop intercultural competencies in order to understand the others and take their point of view into consideration, creating trust with others and being able, therefore, to mobilize others towards a common goal, collaborating from different points of view, but towards a common objective. And then there is the last pillar, which is obviously extremely important, which is the acting. How can we enabling change? How can we become this change agent, having the courage to be disruptive, to change a status quo in a creative way, with optimism, perseverance, and resilience, because this is not going to be an easy exercise. This is not going to happen overnight. It's going to take time, and we are going to face a lot of challenges along the way. So this is the current framework, which is evolving, which is developing. And again, today we can give just a hint of what it is. But the invitation is, if you're interested to discover more, there are a lot of resources made available by the IDG movement.
Somebody was asking, in fact, if these graphs come from a book, or maybe you could give a reference at the end.
Yeah, you can look online, Inner Development Goals. You will find all the resources available. They are, everybody can contribute, that you can use them. They are made to be to be distributed, to be used in your own activities if you want to be used as a reference for everybody. So here we wanted to ask you, with this, superficial knowledge that we have now of the IDGs, what IDG competence would you like to further develop? What do you think that it will be important for you to focus on for your inner development?
Collaboration and action. Collaborating.
I can answer in the meantime for myself while we have more answers coming. For me, it would definitely be the being, the capacity of this strong connection that we talked about before. I think that it's really the strong pillar that requires for me more focus. I think that this model is particularly interesting if you look at organizations and leaders, because each of us can be a leader with in our job, in the organization we belong to, and looking at our organization from this perspective and thinking how people are, what kind of competencies they have, our leaders. And one of the main questions that coaches started to ask themselves was, how can we as coaches contribute? We have been working with leaders for a long time. We have been working on helping leaders to develop competencies, to reach their objectives, to enact change in the organization, but always with a different objective, which was more probably linked to profit, linked to reaching the mission and the objectives of their organization that were not necessarily centered around sustainability. How can we have a role in which we can include all these aspects in their reflection, in their view, and help organization to evolve in this direction. This is why certain coaches starting to work together, for example, in the Climate Coaching Alliance. How can we have an impact on climate change? How can we help society as we work very often with people and with leaders? And what influence we can have, knowing that as coaches, we are not there to bring the topic on the table, but we are there to support. So how can we do that? So the question to you, and we have the last 10 minutes to try to reply to this, is how do you think that coaching could help support people and society in the sustainability journey? We have some answers that we are going to share with you later, but what is your view? I don't know if you know about coaching, so maybe Saba, you want to explain in 1 minute what coaching is?
1 minute, yes. I think we have some coaches online, but for those who aren't, what we intend as coaching, as professional coaches, is not teaching, which is the common definition of coaching. You might have a vocal coach, or if you want to sing, you have a tennis coach. You might have a coach that onboards you in your new job to teach you how to use the new payroll. And these are people that are actually teaching. And that's one way that the word coaching is used. And that's often what clients who come to us expect, that we teach them how to do stuff. We tell them how to do stuff. But professional coaching does exactly the opposite. What professional coaches do is to help you inquire and improve the quality of your thinking about any issue that you're concerned about a decision that you want to make, about a new perspective that you want to acquire. And it answers the need that we have in the workplace to not only get facts, which a teacher will give us, an instructor will give us, but also to make decisions and to have better quality thinking. We have a million questions in our mind every day at work, and a coach can help us clarify those.
So how do you think that coaching can help in this process? What do you think that are the main areas in which coaches could support?
Right. So we had that it ignites the being. So how true. And then the others are ignited like dominoes. It's very true. Coaching does address the being, and it does address those things that we talked about before, more deeper relation, developing all the other competencies. So you want to take the next one, Diego?
Yeah, support self-awareness, listening skills, and communication skills. Absolutely. Listening skills is really what coaching is about. So in the relating and collaborating, there is a lot of that, being able to listen to the others deeply and in a compassionate way. And self-awareness is the area of being, yes, and communication skills, how we can communicate to others in order to collaborate. So definitely these are some areas, and we are going to give also some more specific example. Creating awareness, the learning process, and going to action. Yes, the acting area is also where coaching can help, how to transform your ideas, or when you are stuck and you want to take action, how you can move into action, how you can develop the courage, the vision, the perseverance, as we said before. So the acting part, and the creating awareness, which is not awareness about science, that the scientists will do that, and we have a lot of facts, but it's about that connection that allows you to understand the issue in a much deeper way, because this is what has been happening so far. We have been seeing a lot of images that also tried to connect us at an emotional level, but didn't necessarily create that capability to react. Maybe they created negative emotions. So what is the best way to transform that awareness at a deeper level, at an emotional level, into capability to act? Other people who are not coaches, what is their perception? What is their view? What did they know about coaching before, and how could they see this relation? Because as I started to focus on, trying to marry my work as a coach with my purpose, which is really have an impact on sustainability, climate, etc. It wasn't so easy to create this link and to have people understanding what is this, how can coaching help? This is why I'm asking you, because it's interesting to know what, if you don't know about coaching, what would you think? What is your vision? So I just highlighted some areas where I think that coaching can help. One area is change. We talked about the fact that we need to have a big transformational change, a big human global change in our behavior and in our system. So enabling this individual and systemic change in terms of mindset, world vision, shift, this is where coaching play a very important role, because coaching is about opening up to new possibilities, is looking at the world and looking at the future in a different way. And then addressing the doubts that very often paralyze us, because the main question when the issue is so complex is a self-doubt, can I do it? And a systemic doubt, will we do it? Will we be able to do it? So supporting this and convincing us that yes, we can do it. Yes, I can do it. Every little action is going to have an impact and is going to help. Then recreating that connection with nature, others, and self, with self-reflection, with self-awareness. There is now a big movement around coaching in nature. How, by reconnecting, by being out there and observing nature and the system in a different world, and really deeply connecting with that, we can learn so much, and we can also regenerate ourselves. And then there is the idea of imagining possible futures. Very often coaching is also about visioning, about considering that the future is not determined by the past, but we can proactively think about the future in a different way, and the way we imagine the future is going to have an impact on how we live in the present. Then there is the big area of emotions. I've heard a lot about eco-anxiety. So how can we transform eco-anxiety into eco-agency, especially for younger generation? They have fear anger, resentment, grief. They feel that they have no power. So how we can deal with those deep emotions and transform them into positive emotions and action. Then there is the big area of working with organizations and redefining the organization's mission, values, and strategy, aligning the values and action of individuals with those of the organization they work with, support sustainability professionals in finding a common ground with their stakeholders, which have a completely different view and a completely different perception. Support sustainability professionals in mobilizing other functions, other colleagues. They feel isolated very often in their own organization. So how they can be able to listen in a different way, communicate in a different way, mobilize others. And there are a lot of tools that can help in all these three big areas. And there is the last one that we referred to before, leadership. How we can help develop new competencies, helping people becoming a change agent, and enact change with courage, determination, perseverance, resilience, being able to disrupt, innovate, and reconstruct. So for those of you who are coaches, we know that this is what we do very often in different areas, not linked to sustainability, but creating this link, if there is an interest in the client to explore that, can help a lot. And how we can also making people know that there is a possibility to work on all these areas with a coach. This is also something that we know probably we have to contribute with more awareness.
Thank you very much, Diego. This is fascinating. And I think it's very helpful for all of us to have to reflect upon these deeper aspects. Were there maybe a couple of more slides you wanted to show?
Maybe just one slide, this one, if you want. With the Climate Coaching Alliance, I am a member of the Climate Coaching Alliance and here in Switzerland, and one of the founding members. We have prepared a survey just to try to understand that. What is the vision that coaches have, that sustainability professionals have, and that managers have in their organization. So if you can reply to this survey, if you just use the QR code, you will help us understanding better what we can do and how we can collaborate and work together on this.
Thank you. Excellent. I've just taken a picture of it and I'm in the website. I'll answer after we finished here. So I want to thank you sincerely for having opened up a very, very important conversation. And especially, as you said, this increasing awareness, the inner development goals are fundamental to make a change in the world outside. So thank you very much for this, Diego. Thank you so much for your very lively, very, very lively contribution, a great dialogue via chats, which isn't exactly the best way to connect, but you did a great job. We're very grateful to you. Thank you for all your comments. Diego, you want to have the last word? You're the president, so you get the last word.
No, I'm being the president doesn't mean that I'm the best coach. You are the best coach and the best organizer. I've been so impressed by your commitment, support, skills, Saba. It's a pleasure working with you, and I would like to thank all the people who joined us today. For me, this is really a passion, this topic. We didn't have enough interaction through this format, but if you want to continue to talk about, discuss more about it separately, I'm happy to connect with you if you want. And thank you again, and I wish you a nice continuation of the day and the afternoon.